So I'd like to open up the Green Community Meeting in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law. Please advise this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communicated to prevent the spread. And all town facilities are open by appointment only. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. This meeting will be broadcast live through local access cable, on Facebook Live, on the public access Facebook page. The following information is provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting. And there's the Zoom thing, or from a telephone, and there's the dial-in thing. If you have not registered for Zoom, you'll be asked for your name and email address. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items are listed, may in fact be discussed, and other items may not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Okay, and I'm going to let in Jay as well. All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to wait a minute for Jay to join so that if he has comments from the public and things like that. All right. So I'll ask for first if there's any public comments from the board. Hearing none, I'm okay. And I'll see if there's, all right. Hey, Jay, how are you? I know your audio is still connecting. There you go. All right. And then there's going to be asking if there's any public comments from the public. Hearing none, I'll go on to the next topic. Minutes. We don't have any minutes to review or anything like that. No big deal. So let's first, I want to jump into item number 4 because we have a few folks that need to jump off for the Finance Committee. So we received a letter from Unitil with a proposal from Unitil. If you guys, I don't know if you saw the letter, and let's see if I can do that. Where am I here? NPV, here we go. And let's see if I can share my screen here. Share screen 2. Here we go. All right. Share. Okay, so basically we came in, Unitil came in, and they've come in with $89,161.56. So a little bit of a surprise that they didn't go up again, but I know, Heather, I don't know if you've had any luck with talking to him about at least getting a list of the age of everything or anything like that. So we're trying to get a list from Lunenburg.
No, I forwarded you to. I forwarded you my response I got from him about that question about the appreciated value. So that was just what, yesterday or day before.
Okay, so we're still trying to work with Unitil to try to get a list on the streetlights when, basically when the arm, when the light was last replaced, when the arm was last replaced, just an idea of how old stuff is, so that when we go out for bid, we'll have an idea of the age of the equipment that we have and be able to better judge any kind of additional cost we might have over and above the light conversion itself on this thing. I had a conversation with somebody from MAPC, and they said that the biggest thing that towns need to look at is they find that when they went to convert the streetlights, the wires were old and corroded. So we need to factor in the fact that we might have to upgrade the wires and things like that. So I got a feeling we're not going to see that from Unitil that easily. So I received that. Let me see. I had the that was the business. No, that's that. Where is my other one here? Oh, okay. So we also received any questions so far on the cost that we have that Unitil's giving us?
Nope.
Okay. Any surprises on the cost? Okay, so let me stop share, and I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to share Excel. Okay. And I'll share. So this is the other side of what they gave us. So they gave us a copy of, we got a copy of the December bill. And the December bill basically outlines all the lights and things like that. And the biggest thing is not to any surprise from anybody, is the idea that out of the $6,000 bill we have for the month, $4,327 is for maintenance and $2,000 is for electricity. So, that's the big thing. That's the big thing there on that one. All right. So, one of the things I like to be, Karen, if you can you talk to us a little bit about the next round of competitive grants, when we would have to have all of our projects done for the town, and when we would have to submit it if we wanted to go make it to the spring?
Sure. So the DOER has split competitive grant into 2 rounds each year, one in the spring and one in the fall. So the deadline for the spring application is April 9th, and you would have to have this current grant that you're in all completed with the final report in by February 12th. All invoices paid, final report in, and then you can apply for April 9th. And that will be coming out, they said most likely by the end of this month, the application documents will be out.
Okay. And so if we miss April 9th, the next chance would be?
October 8th, sorry.
Okay. All right. So I guess the question is this is to Rob and to John about the town and the school projects. Do you feel like you can have these done by February 12th from the last competitive grant?
February 12th seems like it's coming up pretty quick. What exactly needs to be completed by then?
It would be the purchase of all the appliances. And I forget the other things there was some things on the, in the public safety building for some, fixing some things and other things on the competitive grant. Let me pull up the competitive grant information. Bear with me a second here. Personal green group, competitive grant. And let me pull this up.
Yeah, Rob, the projects would have to be completed and paid by February 12th.
I know ordering of the appliances, I know there's refrigerators at a lot of the buildings and things like that. I think ordering them, I know Forest Appliance, I think in Townsend, had quoted kit on all the appliances. I don't know, honestly, if it's possible to get them all ordered, delivered, and paid for. Even if tomorrow the order went in, it's less than a month. So I honestly, my gut feeling on that is that's probably not going to happen. And if there's work to be done at Public Safety Building, if Dave can talk a little bit about what that is, getting a contractor on board in 3 to 4 weeks and getting it done and paid for, again, that's probably, I would assume that's not likely. I mean, we can certainly try.
Okay. All right. And so that's fine. So at least all I was trying to do was set expectations. So Heather, does the October 8th kind of fit into what you were thinking?
I think that's more doable than February.
Yes.
February.
Yeah. Okay. So Rob, just to go over some of the things, I'll do this. I'm going to jump around a little bit then, because it's just us kids in this one. There's 3 things that really are different than what you're thinking. So everything is appliances up here. The 3 things that are different: there was a retro commissioning repair. There was a study done for the public safety building, and there was repairing some valves. Well, there was a whole report of valves and other things that could be repaired to improve the heat system and hot water system. Yes, Karen?
Heather, have you received anything from that vendor? Because they said they were going to be filling out the applications for the incentives and sending it to you.
I have not.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So Rob, let me forward you that information from the vendor that
Okay.
that had done the work previously. I understand you're at a little bit of disadvantage because
Yeah.
you weren't here for all this excitement before this. Okay.
I'm trying to play catch up.
I understand that. And I understand you're drinking from a fire hose. So not a problem. We're here to help. The other thing that I thought you might be of interest to you is that we have this building operator certification program. So this is something, John, do you want to take a minute and talk a little bit about this program since you've been through it?
Sure. So the building operator certification is a week-long course. I went to one about 3 or 4 years ago. It was held at Holy Cross College, and it goes through a variety of important facilities management issues, everything from how your building is supposed to operate, your control system, proposed lighting changes that you might want to make. So it covers a whole range of energy efficiency measures. It introduces you to some of the people that are with Unitil or National Grid that are involved in the rebate program. It gives you a set of books that are a good reference for a variety of different projects that we develop. I recommend it. It's well delivered. But what you need somebody is that's going to be here to go through the course.
So we have a slot for somebody from the town side and from the school side to actually go through this course. So that was part of this competitive grant, and it's something I'd like you to think about, Rob, is that you have that ability. I know it might not be the best season for this, but you have that that's open for you right now.
Okay.
Do you know if they're offering those?
What's that?
Are they offering those online?
Oh, that's a good question. We can check.
I know, Dave, if you would check into that, that'd be great, and let me know. I know, John, I think you told me about this when we met at my office a while back, and I ran it by Kit, and then, honestly, I didn't think more about it. Let me think about it. If it's something that I should do, I can do it. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. All right. I think it's a great opportunity. I hate to just waste the money, but, and then John, I think I don't know if you have somebody in mind from the school side to do this.
Yeah, I did approach one of my guys with it, and we haven't got to a conclusion, but I will follow up and try to get to a conclusion on
all right
who I could send.
Especially since the school's going to lose your wealth of knowledge. So, we might not allow that resignation to take place. I don't have a say in it, but I'll say that now. Okay. All right. So that's really the two main things that we had on the grant. The rest of it is, like I say, appliances. I've already done the hot water replacement at the teen center, pipe valve fitting installation. I have somebody looking into that and doing that. And I should have that completed, but it's February would be tight for me as well. So the idea of missing February is not a bad thing for me. Okay. So I do like to, if we can, and then John, the interior, exterior lighting, LED retrofit lighting on the middle school.
So on the retrofit lighting, we ordered all of the basic fixtures. They came in, we installed them all, and like the day after, we had one go out, like the next day.
Okay.
So I still have the electrician on hold, and I've got a replacement on order. So I wrote off to the guy that sells these to us, and these were already rebated, so there's no rebate paperwork has to be shared. It's just if I got them in, I could be done with that project within a week, because it's only 3 fixtures that are still to be installed.
Okay. Very good. And you mentioned a little bit the hot water thing is more than you thought it would be.
Yeah. So my other two projects, so the kitchen appliance replacement project, we got in the double convection oven, we got in the two-door reach-in cooler. Those are in operational, and we are expecting this next week to receive the milk cooler. So once that happens, that'll get invoiced and it should be paid for. The only other thing I still need to do is disposal of the two-door reach-in freezer or refrigerator and the milk cooler. Just proper disposal of those two, and that project will be done. So the shifting gears to the primary school hot water heater. So, we had multiple things we had to try to get done here. We had to be able to keep redundancy for hot water. And at the same time, we were looking for high efficiency domestic hot water. That was going to require a change to the venting on the building, which as soon as I touch that, that's a couple $1,000 probably, or at least $1,000 to get the venting done properly. Anyway, we kind of ran it all around and just realized that we way overscoped this thing, and it's probably more like a $30,000 project.
Wow.
So I just, we're going to put something in that's going to last for 15 years. So I have to get the right equipment, so it needs to be gas condensing boiler or type boiler. It's got but that also adds another layer of complex because I have to deal with the condensate.
Yep.
And then there's some control issues too, minor control issues, but still it's another $1,000 for a control guy to come fix this thing so it operates the way we need it. So
Okay.
my assumption is that this is not going to happen for we have essentially around $10,300, and so it's not going to happen.
Okay.
This was on the capital plan at 30, and that's probably where it needed to be. I mean, we certainly could, if there's an opening to reapply, we certainly could try to make that happen, but it's probably going to push the payback into the decades and decades mode. And so
Gotcha.
I'm not sure
Okay.
how that's going to, our problem is not that it's inefficient. It's not as efficient as it could be. Our problem is age. It's now the hot water heater that we're using is 15 years old.
Yeah.
So, we could retain the indirect hot water heater as the backup capacity and just go with one, condensing boiler. But, that just the materials alone are going to be more expensive than we really have money for. So
Okay.
I'm thinking this thing gets canceled.
Okay. All right. So Karen, how would that affect our ability to apply for the next grant if we don't spend money?
It wouldn't.
Okay. So we would just have to have everything that we did completed by everything we wanted to get money for completed by a certain date.
Right. And just under that project in the final report, you just put the narrative that John just said,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let me stop sharing again. I'm sorry. Any other questions on any questions from the other members on those projects or what's going on?
I was just gonna ask, I think when we discussed this with Kelly Brown, that if a project, say, underran costs, or we could reappropriate funds within our project list. So say the retro commissioning repairs come in more than that number,
Yeah.
couldn't the hot water conservation funds be reallocated towards that project?
From what I'm remembering, and Kelly obviously is the expert on this, that you can reallocate funds during your designation grant because it's sort of your first time, you don't really know what
Yes.
you're doing, and that competitive grants are exactly what you've said they're for. But, I can check with Kelly and make sure.
Okay. Any other questions on this part of it from anybody? Okay. All right. Hearing none, I'll move on to the next thing that we had. And where am I? Green committee. So, okay. So let me go put this up. Bear with me here. Share screen. There we go. Share. Okay. All right. I'm going to lose some folks quickly here. So I want to make sure I get this. So next topic on the agenda was timeline for the actual purchase of the streetlight assets. Heather, I think we need to push on Unitil about getting some information about the age of what we're getting. Do you agree before we actually do the purchase? You have your hand up, so I'll let you tell me what you're thinking.
So I was going to add on, I found an email that I, from Jane Pfister, that what I had said prior is correct, so that we can shift funds between individual approved projects within the
Okay.
parameters of our overall grant award, but we need to let her know before doing that. To answer your question about that, I have no problem reaching out to John DiNapoli to try to get that information. But obviously I can't promise that it will be provided.
Right. But I'm asking the group of how they feel about, the actual purchase, the purchasing of the streetlight assets. Should we look to do it as soon as possible, or based on our timelines, do you prefer that do you think we should be waiting a little while? If anybody has any ideas there. Neil, Liz?
Once
any
we make the purchase, do we need to go out to bid pretty quickly?
I think we can go out to bid before we actually purchase the lights. But no, we can't go out to bid before we purchase?
Well, you don't have the grant, so you need the grant to be able to do the purchase. Not the purchase, but you need the grant to be able to do the procurement of the LED. So,
And you need the lights to do the grant.
yeah, so I would say you definitely need to buy the lights. You're going to have a time period when you own them, and you might have to maintain them, or maybe you don't, or maybe you just kind of say, okay, well, what goes out until we can get the grant and get the bid in for, bid packet out for purchasing.
Okay. All right. I guess I was under the assumption that we could actually, get quotes and things like that before we actually owned them. It's just a matter of how long those quotes would be good for before we turned on the project. Because I get, if we go for the October timeframe, what would that be like at this December or January before they would announce if we received the funds?
No, they would probably before the end of the year, definitely.
All right. So if we figured December, then
Yeah.
I figured it at least takes a month or two for them to figure that out. Okay. All right. Okay. So does it make sense to purchase the lights and look for somebody to do look for a private maintenance on what we have today? Based on the savings, the monthly savings we would be having, just based on the not having to have that luminaire charge?
Just a short term being able to change light bulbs when they go out? Is that?
Well, I don't know if you want to change light bulbs or if I have them start changing into LEDs when they do it. But that's, to change light bulbs would be the thing. But you figure it's going to cost, say if you look at it, we'll say $300 as a number. I'm throwing a number out to roll the truck to change a light bulb. If I'm paying that much to change a light bulb, do I start changing lights at that point? And do you think I could get, I could have the use the grant money to pay the town back itself? That's, I guess, my question.
I can't imagine the grant funds will be able to reimburse the town for expenses already paid. I think you'd have to get the grant for that purpose of buying the lights. So anything that happens prior to the grant and the procurement of the lights probably wouldn't be eligible for reimbursement. That would be my guess.
Okay.
So I wonder if it would make some sense to hold off a little while on buying the lights, try to get the info from Unitil on the age during that period so that we get a little closer to the time when we can apply for the grant for the LEDs, so we're not holding them for a long period of time.
Okay.
I think we're also waiting legally from their attorney, working with our attorney on all the paperwork that needs to happen. So we can't do anything until that's done.
Right. I'm
Right.
just looking for yourself as far as, as far as the capital expense. I know we have approved this at town budget, but how quickly after you get the letter, do you want to, are you thinking pull the trigger type of thing?
Mhm.
And I guess that's a question I'm going to be asking this of yourself, of Rob. Do you want us to go and look for a third party maintenance, or would you prefer that we just stick with Unitil for as long as possible?
I mean, I don't have enough information right now to say I feel comfortable pulling the trigger as soon as we can.
Okay.
I
All right.
don't know
I
how,
can add-
Rob.
Yeah, maybe I can add a little to this. Before I left Gardner, we had gone through the retrofit, and following the retrofit, that we had a contractor, signed up to do the maintenance on the new lights. And so just in thinking about it, I had the city engineer email me the contract, and their call out on a single light was $580. So if we're going to own these lights for a period of time before the retrofit begins, what worries me is the cost of maintenance. And it's hard to tell people when they call to say the street light is out, at such and such an intersection, and tell them, well, I'm sorry, we can't fix it now. We're waiting to replace it with an LED until that, we have the grant money for that. So my gut feeling is we're going to have to pay to fix some of these, and it's going to get pricey. So just keep that in mind as, in this conversation.
All right. Yeah, John?
Okay, one of the things I would say is we need to realize that, we have net metering credits going against that account. So that's about 40,000 a year. That's just, if we own that, that's about a $10,000 savings. That is part of this whole equation. If we own them, we have to move those net metering credits someplace. We recommend maybe someplace like the public safety building, someplace that could absorb that kind of a net metering credit. But that also could be used then to fund some maintenance, not the credits themselves directly, but what it supplants. So there are some things to be considered that apply to this one account, just because we have that $40,000 of net metering credits going there. So over the course of the whole year, but remember your net metering production is the bulk of it occurs between May and September.
Okay.
So that's when you're putting the most money against that account.
As well as, if you look at it, is the luminaire charge. So the maintenance charge is $4,000 a month from Unitil. So if we look at it that way, Rob, you would have $4,000 towards that 580 roll out a truck. So I don't think we would. I don't think you'd be doing it 6 times during the month.
Yeah, and I can certainly reach out to some contractors and for quotes for, emergency service, or however it's termed, and get some quotes and at least know what I'd be, come out and fix a light. I don't know what we have. I'm sure there's a variety of bulbs and lamp styles. So it would be hard. Well, not hard. I can certainly to at least get a handle on it. Get a company on board to say, this is a limited time contract because we're going to be doing the retrofit, but So yeah, we can look into that.
Okay, and by the way, I had the $300 number I had gotten was from the person who's doing Fitchburg, the company that's doing Fitchburg. Yes, and then the other side of it would be, I don't know if it makes sense to maybe even reach out to like a Sterling that has their own municipal light and say, what would you charge me for a one-shot deal? Because maybe it'd be nice to reciprocate a town. If it was going to be $500 for them, that might not be a bad deal for them, for a town with their own municipal light. I'm trying to think who else around us has their own municipal light, besides
Groton.
Okay.
Button?
Oh yeah, that's right. Groton does
Ashburnham?
have it. Yeah. Littleton. I know Littleton does too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that might make sense that one of the towns would do it for a decent number, but that's another option that I was thinking. Okay, so
do we have a count of the maintenance that Unitil has actually done? Like how often they're changing lamps?
no, that's what Heather and I were talking about, is that we've asked them for, we've asked them for the age of each of the lights, but so far none of that information is forthcoming.
So it's not in that report, the monthly report.
No, nothing's in the monthly report. It just tells you what kind of light it is and how much you're paying for it. That's about it.
They must have that information if they've figured out what the depreciation is.
I would assume so too. Actually. Okay. All right. I was going to Heather, is there anything else before yourself and Dave have to run to the finance committee that you wanted us to talk about beforehand?
No, I think you covered everything regarding what the next steps, I guess, are, and when we need to be cognizant of timeline for the Green Communities competitive grant that we're trying to work on right now. So
Okay. All right. And the basic consensus is that until we own the lights, there's no sense in going for RFQs.
no, I think it's going to take a long time to actually put an RFP together.
Okay.
So I think that's something that can be worked on.
Yeah.
Because the more detailed and explicit the RFP is, the better off the town is going to be when, we're trying to administer it.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. All right. And then the last thing I had real quickly was MAPC used to have a program for this where they would do group buying of lights and different things of that. However, they do offer consulting services now. So I'm going to reach out to the person at MAPC and get a better feeling for the scope of work that they're able to do for us and what they're thinking, and things of that sort. So perhaps they can help with this, with the RFP, RFQ. I don't know what you guys, and things of that sort for us to get us started. They did have, I sent you guys that booklet, 2 of them today. One of them was here, I'll just share for real quickly. And I'll have to send it to you, Jay, but so one of them was this. It's retrofit streetlights with LEDs, and goes through a whole idea of developing a scope of work, and all that wonderful stuff. In here, it gives, bear with me here a second. Where was it? Now I can't find it because I'm looking for it. It gave a list of places that contractors to work with and things of that sort as well on here. So we have this one, doing an audit. The question on the audit, one of my thoughts was that is there a way of having it where we can ask the police department to do an audit on the lights we have, with the idea of, in their opinion, is there enough illumination in each one of the spots? And how does the group feel about that? Any thoughts? Oh, well, I guess I would ask, is that something, how would I get that? I'm trying to get an audit done through the town versus trying to hire an outside contractor. And is that something that I could be asking of the police department? Or is that something that, Rob, that the DPW could take on?
I'd have to think about that, Dave. I'm not sure if outside of myself, I don't know who's qualified or if I'm even qualified to say, are light levels adequate? I don't have any training in that.
That was the other thought, was just to say, does the light work or not, more than anything else also. And just because I've already had a couple of residents when I was talking that have approached me already saying, hey, by the way, my light doesn't work outside my house. And that's not on my scope, but that's one of the things I was thinking. And that's one of the reasons why I was thinking it might be better for the police department, because of that, of having the cruisers going through the night, that they might be able to just, in their opinion, just say yes or no to enough light in that spot. And it's more of an opinion thing than anything else. Does that sound reasonable?
To me, it seems like an awfully large ask, because they're going to have to identify pole numbers. It's not just, here's a light, is it bright enough? There's going to be some tracking and bookkeeping that goes with it. You can certainly ask. I mean, you can approach the chief. My gut feeling is that it's a big job. I know.
Yeah.
We went through it in Gardner, and I don't know how they did. They identified the wattages, and it was very in depth, because they didn't want to end up with lights that were brighter. They wanted to try and match the wattages. They wanted to try and match the colors, because of course LEDs, you can get different colors or different color levels. So there's kind of a lot that goes into it, and you can ask the police with a list of, I would say with poll numbers, you can get their opinion, but it certainly doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
I would wonder if the police union might see that as outside of the scope of the kind of work that they do. That would be my question.
Exactly. That's why I thought that maybe just with the idea that it was they got their a say in what they thought about the illumination. As people who have to deal with folks at night and things of that sort, and who actually see the town at night more than we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think there could be some benefit to them to be able to say this pole needs a brighter light in this particular area for public safety reasons. But I don't know if that's enough for them to want to do it.
All right. Heather, I know you have to run to FinCom, but you have a hand raised. Are you still raising?
No, I think it was just raised from previously.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm not used to the hand raising thing. You got to bear with me. I'm used to just, the family meeting where you just talk over each other type of thing, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I can talk to the chief about more generally if there's any areas in town that they have noticed that needed greater illumination or additional lighting.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going to have time to do the 336 lights
Gotcha.
assessment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
The report that Unitil provided, does that have the wattage of the bulb? So we already know that information?
Yes, it does. So here, if I do this, stop share, hold on, bear with me, stop share. And then I share again, and I go with here and share. Okay, so here you can see it's popping up, but this is the form that they gave us, and it tells you the location of each light, tells you the lumens of the light.
Mm-hmm.
And then from a previous form, we do have the wattage of each light.
So at least we know that much. And I mean, could we be okay with an audit that is just like the light's working, the light's not working?
That's what I'm looking at it as that way. It's lights working, lights not working. However, that was, in order to get in order to entice the police to actually do that, I thought the idea of having an opinion was going to make it seem like you were actually, there was a better reason for doing the audit type of thing. I agree with you that it's out of the scope to just do an audit of the lights.
Yeah.
But then again, is it necessary that, well, if I'm paying for the maintenance, I want to definitely do, have every light. Well, the cost of the lights is from the moment that we take charge of them. So whatever they give us this cost of 89,000 now, if anything is fixed in the meantime, the price is going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing, that little catch 22 I have, we have right now. If we do an audit and say, fix these lights, the cost is going to go up just for us to throw those lights out, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of caught, we're kind of caught there, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like it would be better to minimize the amount of time that we own the lights before we have the grant.
Okay.
Can I?
Sure.
My recommendation, and obviously I've been wrong already tonight. I swear to God, Kelly told me that.
I think
But
so
anyways.
too. You can please check with Kelly, because I think you might be right.
Yeah,
Well,
it makes sense that we can't move things around.
but my suggestion is, in order to go for the grant, you need a quote for how much it's going to be. So you obviously have to go out for the RFP. So I think it all should be done at the same time. Obviously you do the RFP first so you can get the cost. When you put together the application, the purchase is based on whether you get the grant or not. You don't want these lights if you're not going to get the grant. And there's no guarantee that you're getting the grant because it is a competitive grant.
Right.
So you don't want to buy them and then you don't get the grant.
Yep.
So I think you should purchase them when you find out you've gotten the grant.
Right. No, I'm talking about, like, if we did an audit, if I find
I know what you mean, and
Yeah.
you're right. If you say Unitil replace these are broken, you're just taking them out in 6 months or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
But isn't that what we're paying the maintenance every month for?
We are,
You'd
but
think
then
so.
you are paying the maintenance for that, Neil. But the problem is now the asset is worth more because they would have changed the asset. It's going to have a different lifespan.
Yeah.
And the price of the light, the price is ridiculous already for this thing. It's almost, I could almost start from scratch for the same amount of money as they're charging us for the lights. It's that ridiculous for this thing. All right. So regarding an audit, Rob, can you please just think about what your thoughts on it? It's just more of really trying to figure out whether lights. I don't know what we want to do on an audit at this point.
Well, and that document you had, I couldn't find it, but it had an appendix about here's what to do in an audit.
That's correct. It did have that.
Okay.
But it basically, the audit's going to be exactly that. Is the illumination correct that you see today?
Yeah, I'll look at that document. Sorry to cut you off. I'll look at that document as far as the audit goes and think about that some more. One thing to keep in mind, and this is just from my own experience, is you don't want to go brighter because you start getting complaints from people that, oh my God, these lights are so bright.
Yep.
And you start to get a negative feeling from the residents. So I think it's great that Unitil has provided, all the lumens on these lights, the existing lights. I would urge you to try and match those color-wise, lumens, so that you don't get a mass complaint from a bunch of townsfolk who now, the appearance is that, oh my gosh, these are so bright. And just from my own personal experience, even when they match, they're brighter, they're a different color, they're going to be different, and people are going to complain, and some people might love them. So that's why I urge you to don't don't be too wanting to change them too much, unless of course there's a definite need at an intersection, or the police may already know, hey, these intersections are really bad, they could use more light. Yeah, I mean, that might be how to start that conversation is, what do you know that could use improvements? But I'll look at that and I'll give it some more thought, just to see what's involved in the audit. And I can let you know.
Okay. And if I look at it, so there's a set of lights here. So Wayland Road, Leominster Road, Mass Ave, Wayland Road. These are the brightest in town, these 9,500 lumens. Those are the brightest that we have. Oh, I'm sorry. They have some 50,000 lumens as well.
So is every address 0
There's
name road?
there's another document we have that actually has the addresses.
Oh, okay, good. Or at
So-
least map, block, and lot numbers. So that we-
No, actually it has it as, bear with me a second here.
Pole number.
Green, streetlights, LED conversion, light upgrade.
And do they have geocoded coordinates?
Hold on, bear with me a second here. Let me pull up the form. Boom. I think this is the one. Nope, this is not the one. All right, keep on going here.
If they were able to give you the coordinates, we could do a GIS map at
Yeah.
Oh,
MRPC.
that'd be nice.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be too much.
You can drive around in your car and stop at each pole and
Thank
press the
you.
button.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks. That's what I need. Well, it's funny because I almost feel like that way, telling a couple of high school kids, hey, go for it, guys.
I'll give you $5 if you.
Yep. It was town of Lunenburg. I think, Rob, I had sent that to you, if I remember right. MPV streetlights. I can't find it right at this moment then. Nope. All right. Sorry. I'm not all right. I'm not finding it right now. So I do have a list of all the lights in town and actually the address of each light. It's a PDF of some sort and I just can't find it right this second. Light master. All right. I don't want to take up too much time with this, but purchase proposal. Nope, that's not it. That's definitely not it. Okay. All right. I don't want to take up too much time on this thing, but I have it somewhere. Come on, where is it? All right. Retrofit proposal. LED conversion, streetlight. 811 solar lights. Nope, can't find it. Okay. All right. So anyway, that I do have a sheet somewhere that has a list by address of the lights. Not just by saying all zeros. And here, doesn't help too much. Actually, did it have it on a different page? Nope, that's zeros.
Tab.
Oh, we got at least a few numbers here. 3 Lakeview, 98 Reservoir Road, and a few of them. And that does have the no premise. It's a premise number, but that doesn't help. And sheet 1, oh, does this give it to you? No. Okay. All right. So that's something I can look into, getting a list that way. All right. As far as the RFP, I guess the next thing for us is to start thinking about what we would need in an RFP. At this point, I'd like to let you guys look at the over, not tonight. I don't want to do this right tonight. I'd like to let you guys look over the documents I sent you on on conversion to streetlights. That would be stop share. Oh, I lost 2 people. What's my chat? Okay. All right, that's next meeting. Okay, so share. And that was on, nope, that was not it. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so anyway, it was that PDF I showed you earlier. And that went through converting of streetlights. I'd like to probably reconvene next month if we could, and just start thinking about developing the RFP and what we would need. Does that make sense?
It does.
All right. Because I don't want to have to I don't want to have multiple meetings all on top of each other just because we ran out of time. I think we realize that our deadline is going to be for this October 8th, which to me translates, Karen, that would translate to like August. I'd have to have all my final report by August, somewhat time.
Yeah, I'll check on that though.
Okay, but still, that's more than that. Rob, hopefully that's enough time. John, that's enough time to complete all the few projects we have. And I know that's going to be enough time on my side. So I'd like you guys to start thinking about, how we develop the RFP, anything else we need for this. At this point, I think we seem to be okay in where we're at. I just, I don't know if there's anything you guys can think of that I'm missing, that we're missing right now.
No, did you see Dave Passio's comment? Just
About?
Department of Public Utilities to see if they can push Unitil to give us information?
Yeah, I'm going to have to hit somebody.
Figuratively.
Yeah, exactly. It is frustrating. It's like I can't believe how much a monopoly that is, that they can't even tell you what the assets that you're buying, what they are, right? You buy
then you can back calculate how much money they're making and all that stuff. That's why they won't.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's still it's utterly insane to me how they can't tell you anything at all with this thing.
Well, in like real estate other types of real estate transactions, they have this independent party who's doing an appraisal of the property and doing some research and getting that information together. But Unitil just gets to decide apparently what they're going to charge, and they effectively are doing their own appraisals.
Right.
Presumably they're regulated, so there must be some sort of regulator that controls how the transaction goes.
Exactly, because they did give us that, they gave us that NPV. Where is that NPV?
I think it was in the stuff you sent.
Yes, it was, but here we go. NPV. Yeah, so they basically said they gave us this. Right, that says, okay, the accumulated cost was 247, the depreciation is 158, and the net value is 89,000. Well, you had to come up with have something to come up with that, I would think.
Yeah.
I know accounting, I don't know, I'm not an accountant, but I would think you had to come up with something. And all he keeps pointing to us to is that he uses the Massachusetts code to do this. So I think we need to, it sounds like, Rob, that delaying the actual purchase will be an asset to you right now.
Yeah. I don't know if it's an asset. Either way, there's going to be a period. Ideally, I'd like to shrink that period where we own the old lights. So if it means they're bought later on in the process, that's great. Either way, it's however it comes down, we just have to deal with it. And as John said, we're seeing a savings. in not paying for the maintenance, and I'm sure we can get the maintenance a lot cheaper than what we pay Unitil, and considering other things like the net metering and things like that. So I guess so. Yeah, I get, maybe that's a fair statement.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So that's fine. All right, guys. Is anything else that we missed tonight?
I just found the date. It's September 3rd.
September 3rd. Okay, perfect. Okay.
But once the grant application is out, there's nothing to stop us from just applying as soon as we're ready to apply.
We just have to
And-
have our other projects done.
Done, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And a final information on that. Okay.
So
Excellent.
am I correct in assuming that since the town has appropriated the funds to make the purchase, that since we're in a process of negotiating with them and we'll have I assume a purchase and sale, that the town will be able to encumber the funds and we won't have to spend them by June 30th? Because normally, like, you know, in Fitchburg, if we have some money that the town has given, the city has appropriated, the city council has appropriated, now we have to spend it within that fiscal year. But if we have a contract and we're in a process, then we can encumber it and can roll it into the next fiscal year. So I just want us to make sure that we don't have to spend that money by June 30th.
Okay. All right. Well, I would hope that by June 30th, I would actually like to own the lights by June 30th and at that point, have the information about somebody who could do the maintenance and what it would be like for this thing. I don't know how you guys feel, but I would like to be able to have that by June 30th, have that part of this
Right.
completed.
But like Karen said, if there's a risk that we don't get that grant for the retrofitting, then we're just stuck with the lights without
That is,
money to retrofit. So we might want to mull the pros and cons of this a little bit more.
okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think once we figure out what a rough idea of what Rob, how many lights did you guys do in Gardner?
I don't remember the exact number, but it was probably close to triple what we're looking at.
Okay. And any idea of what the actual, what the cost was?
I don't have those numbers.
Okay.
I came into Gardner as they were just getting into the actual retrofit. I wasn't involved in anything in the upfront part of it.
Okay. I was just more curious than anything else. That's why. So,
I can get those. I can get some numbers for you. It's just an email away.
okay. It's just more of curiosity, just so that we kind of gives us an idea of a ballpark of what we're looking at. We had one ballpark from a company about, I'd say 4 years ago now, and they were in that $150,000 range, which I think is awfully high for what we're doing.
What I do have, actually, I have the contract from the company who did the retrofit that then stayed on to be the maintenance people. And I believe, if it is, I'll send it to you tomorrow. I believe it had the unit prices.
Okay.
So I'll find that and I'll get that to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to think if there was anything else on our agenda here, because I usually try to make sure you guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I think we should be, so let me ask this then, Liz, Neil, how's February looking for you? And do you like Thursdays?
Yeah, to me, that's okay.
Liz, you're on mute. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So usually I can do Thursdays, but for work, I am in a public hearing process that there will probably be 1 or 2 meetings that might fall on a Thursday in the evening, and I just need to check that schedule. But
Okay.
the chances of that being the same day as we do it are slim.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you want to just get back and tell us what would look good for you in February, we
Yeah,
can try to, we'll fit that in. Okay.
Yeah, the school vacation week is probably out, I would guess, but other than that,
Right. You got kids in school that you have to worry about?
well, my wife's the teacher, so she'll be home and
Right.
No.
I know. Oh, okay. You'll be going out. You'll be going out on Thursday night. I know.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
dancing, dinner, movie, the whole thing.
Right. Okay. All right. Now that's cool. We can figure it out. Not a problem at all. Excellent. All right, guys. I think that's. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I'm supposed to ask again for public comment for the public. See no hands. Public comment from the board. Okay. I'll take a motion.
Motion to end the meeting.
All right. Second.
second,
Okay. Roll call vote. Liz? Yes.
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Yes. I'll say yes. All right, guys.
Can we
I
have
appreciate-
a recount?
I thank you again for it. I'm sure we'll talk again, but I'll look forward to seeing you guys in February, and I'll feed you some data, and let's look forward to getting started with the RFP and getting this thing rolling.
Okay, good.
All right. Thanks again. Enjoy the
Look at
evening.
January.
All right.
Right.
Night all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Enjoy.